You know, y'all like to be in everybody's business, want to be in everything but a cash. So why ain't nobody talking about the shootout that happened at Key Glock album release party last night? Inquiring minds want to know. And y'all pay close attention, because whatever Homer was saying in Key Glock era.
Key Glock's album release party in Houston got shot up. Gunfire inside the club, gunfire outside the club, bodies hitting the floor, and before the smoke even cleared, before the police even pulled up, the streets already had a name on the situation: CMG. And right now, as I'm talking to you, the whole internet is saying the same thing. The get back is coming. They saying Glock about to slide. That's the story, gang. That's exactly where we sitting tonight. Now let me tell you what we actually know, because this ain't no game, and I ain't about to put a body on nobody that don't belong there. Saturday night, Houston, Texas, a spot called Area 29. Key Glock, Marcavius Cathy, the same man young Dolph raised in this rap game, throwing a celebration for his project. Strip club packed wall to wall. Then the shots start, and not one or two, fam. We talking inside and outside, both like two waves of it. Reports got 3 people hit, some accounts even saying somebody didn't make it. Video going around showing Glock getting rushed out the building while the whole thing turned into a war zone. That's the part that's real. That's the part you can hang your hat on. Here's where it gets crazy. The internet didn't wait, not 1 second. The moment Key Glock and shooting hit the timeline, every comment section in hip-hop typed the same 3 letters, CMG, and then they typed the next thing. He gotta slide now. The streets calling for it. Dolph all over again. So that's the question this whole video is built on. Did CMG really shoot up Key Glock's party? And is Glock really about to slide? Or is the internet running a movie that the facts don't back up yet? Y'all need to hear this all the way through, because I'm gonna lay out every piece. What's confirmed, what's rumor, and what the streets believe, and let you be the judge. Let me break it down for y'all. To understand why the internet pointed at CMG in 2 seconds flat before a single fact came out, we gotta go back, way back. Because this didn't start Saturday night in Houston. This been building for over a decade. Real recognize real, so let me set the scene right. You got 2 camps in Memphis that been at war longer than some of y'all been listening to rap. On one side, Paper Route Empire. That's young Dolph's house. Dolph built that from nothing. No major, no cosign, just trunk music and hustle. And under Dolph's wing was his little cousin, his protege, his right hand, Key Glock. Dolph put Glock on, made him a star. They was the duo. Dumb and Dumber, that was them. On the other side, you got CMG, collective music group founded by Gotti. Gotti's the OG Memphis rapper that made it out first, built the empire, signed the talent, and right next to Gotti you had his brother, Anthony Mims. The streets knew him as Big Jook. Now here's the real tea on how the war started. Going all the way back to 2014, Dolph started telling the world he turned down an offer to sign to CMG. He said no to Gotti. And in the streets, in the rap game, a no like that can sit and fester for years. The bickering went back and forth. Gotti's camp on one side, Dolph on the other, diss records, subliminals, all that. For a long time it stayed on wax, stayed petty, stayed music, but it didn't stay music forever. November 2021. Young Dolph walks into Makita's, a cookie shop in Memphis he'd been going to since he was a kid, and he gets gunned down in broad daylight, buying cookies for his mama. The whole city stopped. The whole culture stopped, because Dolph wasn't just a rapper to Memphis, he was the blueprint for doing it your own way. And here's the part that connects everything. Years later, in open court, Shelby County prosecutors stood up and alleged that Big Jook, Yo Gotti's own brother, put a $100,000 hit on young Dolph, 100 bands. And the reason, according to the prosecution's theory, was tied right back to that CMG situation. One of the men who admitted to being part of the killing testified he did it for the promised payout. That was the first time the law itself put the murder in the context of a CMG versus Paper Route war. Now I gotta keep it 100 with y'all. That's the prosecution's theory and the testimony from people facing their own charges. But it's on the record. It's in a courtroom. That's not a YouTube rumor, that's transcript. And then it got even deeper. January 2024, Big Jook himself, the man prosecutors say ordered the hit, gets shot and killed coming out of a repast in Memphis. The brother of the CMG founder dead in the street, and the whole world immediately started whispering one word: get back. So now you understand. When I tell you Key Glock's party got shot up and the internet screams CMG in 2 seconds, it's because everybody already got the whole bloody history in their head. This ain't strangers connecting random dots. This is people who watched a decade-long war leave young Dolph dead and Big Jook dead. So when shots ring out at Dolph's protege's party, the streets don't ask who. They think they already know. But thinking you know and knowing, that's two different things. Remember that because it's gonna matter. Let me build this timeline up piece by piece because the order matters. First, you gotta understand where Key Glock been at this whole time. After Dolph died, a lot of people expected Glock to fold, to go quiet, to disappear. He did the opposite. He locked in, dropped Glaucoma 2, then dropped Glockavelli, and that Glockavelli run was big. Multiple versions, deluxe, the whole machine. The man turned grief into a grind. He carried paper route on his back, and through all of it, Glock stayed on a certain type of timing. He never really went tit for tat dissing CMG. He kept it about the music mostly, kept his cousin's name alive on records like Proud, where he straight up rapped about the grief. But here's where things got real. Earlier this year, before any of this Houston stuff, the energy between the camps never died down. You had clips going viral. You had the Key Glock squash beef with Yo Gotti talk on one side, and then you had people saying, nah, ain't no squashing nothing, not after 2 funerals. The internet couldn't even agree on whether there was peace. And then, this is wild. Back in May, before the party even happened, a fake story went around saying Key Glock had been shot dead in South Memphis. A whole YouTube video, 30,000 views, claiming the same gang tied to Dolph's death got Glock too. It spread across Facebook, X, Reddit. Fans was panicking. Turned out to be a complete hoax. Glock was alive, posting on his own stories promoting new music hours before. No police report, no family statement, nothing. It was fake. But sit with that for a second, fam. Why did that hoax spread so fast? Why did people believe Key Glock got murdered the same way as his cousin without a single shred of proof? Because the streets already wrote the ending in their head. They already expecting the next chapter to be blood. That's the climate this whole thing is happening in. So now picture it. The whole culture is already primed, already on edge, already half expecting something to pop off involving Key Glock and the CMG situation. The kindling been sitting there for years, everybody just waiting on a spark. And then comes Houston. But that's just the beginning though. Saturday night, Houston, Texas, Area 29, a strip club on the scene. Key Glock pulls up to celebrate his project. By every account, the building is packed. This is supposed to be a good night, a celebration, a man being honored for his work. Then everything changed. According to the early reports, an altercation breaks out and escalates into gunfire. And here's the detail that made everybody's stomach drop. The shooting happened both inside the venue and outside it. Both. That tells you this wasn't one dude letting off one round in a panic. That's a situation with movement to it. Early accounts say 3 people got struck by gunfire, and some of the reports went even further and said there were fatalities, that people didn't walk out of there. Now I gotta stop you right there and be straight. As this was breaking, authorities had not confirmed those numbers. The casualty count, the deaths, that was coming from early accounts, not from a podium with a badge behind it. So pump your brakes on the body count until the real confirmation comes. What's on video is Key Glock getting rushed out the building. Security, his people, whoever, getting him up out of there while the chaos is going. And let me say this clear so don't nobody twist it. Every credible account says Key Glock was not involved in any wrongdoing. He was the headliner. He was the man being celebrated. He was a target of the chaos, if anything, not the cause of it. Glock didn't shoot nobody. Glock was the reason everybody was there, and his night turned into a nightmare. So that's the turning point. That's the incident. A celebration turned into a shooting with multiple people hit. The headliner rushed out for his life, and a whole lot of unanswered questions left smoking in the air. Who started it? Were the shooters even connected to the event, or was it some random Houston club beef that had nothing to do with Glock? Were they aiming at somebody specific? Nobody had those answers in the immediate aftermath. The details, in the words of the people reporting it, were scant. And that vacuum, that empty space where the facts should be, that's exactly where the internet ran in and built its own movie. That's where it gets crazy. Now here's where people started connecting the dots. And I want y'all to watch how this happens because this is the whole point of the video. The second the news dropped, the comment sections filled up, and the theory was instant and it was unanimous. CMG did this. CMG shot up Key Glock's party. It's the get back from the get back. Big Jook ordered Dolph. Somebody got Big Jook and now they coming for Glock. Clean story. Makes sense. Fits the whole decade of war. But let me put my detective hat on and walk through the evidence like we in a courtroom because the streets convicted CMG in 2 seconds and I'm not ready to do that. Keep it 100 with me here. Piece of evidence number 1, motive and history. Yeah, there's a documented court-referenced war between these camps. That's real. That gives the theory a foundation that you can't just laugh off. If you didn't know the history, the theory sounds crazy. If you do know it, it sounds possible. I'll give the streets that much. Piece of evidence number 2, who actually fired the shots? And here's the problem, fam. Nobody knows. As this was breaking, there was no suspect name connected to CMG. No arrest tying anybody from that camp to that club. The Houston police weren't out here saying this is a CMG hit. The witnesses were giving different accounts of what even sparked it. So the single most important piece of evidence, the actual shooter and who sent him, that piece is missing, empty, blank. Piece of evidence number 3, and this is the one that should make you slow all the way down. This is Houston, not Memphis. A strip club in Houston on a packed Saturday night is one of the most volatile rooms in America, and shootings pop off at these spots over the dumbest stuff. Somebody stepped on somebody's shoe, somebody disrespected somebody's lady, 2 crews that ain't got nothing to do with rap bumping into each other. The shooting being at Glock's event does not automatically mean the shooting was about Glock. That's a leap, a big one. So when the internet says CMG shit up his part, what they're really doing is taking a real history, a real event, and a real emptiness of facts, and filling that emptiness with the most dramatic possible answer. That's not investigation, that's storytelling, and I do storytelling for a living, so I know it when I see it. Now let's talk about the second half of that title. Key Glock is already sliding. The streets aren't just saying CMG did it, they're saying Glock is already on his way to get even. The get back is loaded, and I need everybody to hear me crystal clear on this one, because this is where people get themselves and other people in trouble. There is no, and I mean zero, evidence that Key Glock has done anything to anybody, none. Not a clip, not a report, not a statement, nothing. He's gonna slide is not a fact. It's a prediction. It's the internet writing the next episode of a show that hasn't aired. People want it to be true because it fits the movie in their head. That don't make it real. And honestly, look at how Glock's actually moved this whole time. After Dolph died, the man didn't go run up on nobody publicly. He went and made the best music of his life. He put Paper Route on his back. He kept his cousin's name in his mouth on records, not in the streets. So if we judging Key Glock by his actual track record, and that's the only fair way to judge a man, his pattern ain't sliding. His pattern is grinding. The internet is projecting a character onto him that his own history don't support. So here's where I land on the investigation, and y'all can disagree with me in the comments. The party shooting is real. The history that makes people suspicious is real, but the specific claims that CMG ordered it and that Glock is retaliating, those are theories the internet is treating like verdicts, and the street's been wrong before. Remember that fake death story from May? Same energy. Everybody believed it. It was a lie. Real recognized real. And the real thing here is, we don't know yet. And anybody telling you they know for sure is selling you a movie. So where does that leave everybody? For Key Glock, this is a nightmare on top of a nightmare. Think about what this man already carried. He lost Dolph, his cousin, his mentor, the man who made him. He watched the whole city mourn. He built himself back up through all that grief. And now, on a night that was supposed to be a celebration of his work, gunfire turns it into chaos and people get hurt. Whether or not it had anything to do with any old beef, the man's celebration became a crime scene. That's heavy, regardless of who pulled the trigger. And then on top of the actual trauma, he's got the internet handing him a script he didn't write. They're telling the world he's about to go to war. They're putting expectations on him, pressure on him, to respond, to handle it, to be the character they want him to be. That's a dangerous thing to do to a real human being. Y'all gotta understand, these are real people, not characters in a show. When the internet says he got a slide, they're not just gossiping. They're applying pressure to a real man to do something that could end his life or his freedom. For CMG and Gotti's camp, they're now getting blamed in millions of comments for a shooting that as of right now, nobody has connected to them with any evidence. Whatever you believe about the history, getting publicly accused of a fresh shooting with no proof is its own kind of fire. And it keeps a years-old, two-funeral war boiling at a moment when, real talk, the smartest thing for everybody breathing would be to let it cool. For the families, and this is the part the internet always forgets, somebody actually got shot at that party. Real people with real names and real mamas. While the timeline argues about rap beef, those victims and the people who love them are dealing with something that ain't entertainment. Damn near everybody's making content about it, me included, and we owe it to keep that in mind. And legally, the situation was still wide open. As this was breaking, no clear suspect, no confirmed motive, conflicting accounts, authorities not putting a name on it. Houston PD investigating, which means anybody, any channel, any blog, any commenter naming a specific person or organization as the shooter is doing it without proof. And in a world where these clips travel forever, that's how people catch real problems. That's why I'm framing this the way I am. But here's the bigger thing the aftermath shows us about the culture itself. And this is where I really need y'all locked in. Let me zoom all the way out because this is bigger than one party in Houston. What we just watched happen, a real shooting, a real history, and then an instant internet verdict built on zero new evidence. That's the actual sickness in this culture right now. We have trained ourselves to treat every tragedy like it's the next episode of a TV show. Something pops off, and before the ambulances even leave, we already casting the villain, writing the revenge arc, and demanding the next body. We turned real death into a storyline, and think about who pays for that. Not the comment sections, not the channels, the real people. When the internet decided Big Jook ordered Dolph, that was a courtroom thing. But when the internet decides CMG did Houston and Glock's gonna slide off nothing but vibes and history, they're not solving anything. They're loading a gun and handing it to real men, telling them the whole world is watching to see if they pull it. That's how a war that should be ending gets a brand new chapter. That's how the cycle that took Dolph and then took Big Jook just keeps eating people. Young Dolph built an entire empire on the idea of doing it your own way and breaking cycles. The realest way to honor that, the realest thing Key Glock or anybody in this situation could do, is to not be the character the internet is writing, to break the script instead of running it. So here's what I want from y'all, and I want you to actually think before you type. Don't just react. When something like this happens, ask yourself, what do I actually know? Versus what do I want to be true because it makes a better story? Because the streets believed Key Glock was dead a month ago, and it was a flat-out lie. The streets are confident right now too. Confidence ain't proof. Now I'm asking you straight up, drop it in the comments. Do you think the Houston shooting was really tied to the CMG situation? Or do you think the internet is forcing a narrative onto a Houston club shooting that could have been about anything? And real talk, do you think Key Glock is the type to slide? Or is he the type to do what he's been doing this whole time and answer everything with the music? Let me know. Be honest, not dramatic. I'm gonna stay on this one. The second real confirmation drops, a suspect, a motive, an official word, anything verified, I'm coming right back to break it down for y'all with the facts, not the fan fiction. Because that's what we do here. We keep it 100, we respect the real ones, and we don't put bodies on people that the evidence don't put there. Stay tuned, stay smart, and keep your eyes on what's real. I'm out.